Dallas. I moved to Tennessee in 2013, and hiking the Appalachian Trail was the first thing from my mind. I actually sat in a book talk by Jennifer Carr Davis. She was the only female who actually broke the record for hiking the 18th fastest. And so it was interesting to hear her talk about it, and I read a couple of her stories, a couple of books rather. And anyway, so still didn't think of actually doing it. You know, to shake her hand, like, oh my, unbelievable. But so 2016, me and a buddy of mine were thinking, you know, hey, he's got the summer off. I could take a couple of weeks off. What are we going to do? Oh, let's start hiking the national parks from west to east. And it's like, well, that sounds like great because I love being outdoors and in nature and the parks. But that sounds like a lot of driving time with him. And I'm like, no, I don't think I want to do that. And I like the guy, but not that much. Anyway, so we both kind of simultaneously said, how about we start hiking the Appalachian Trail? And in fact, our idea, our concept was to do like 2 weeks every year, and in 20 years we finish it. That's how long the trail is. It's over 2,000 miles, right? 13 states. Well, so we started out, and we actually did 8 days hiking, and it was a great experience. And we continued on hiking. We had some other friends join us, and yeah, so to try to make the story easy, by 2020, pandemic era, a lot of people couldn't join us. In fact, the park was even closed down. We're now working at home solely, and my real job, and developing his work plans. And I was going, you know, crazy in there. So I said, well, can I not only take 2 weeks off for vacation, but can I also take an additional 4 weeks? And you just got to stop painting. And they're like, well, I don't know what to think about it, you know. And actually, he said, you need to ask the owner. So I call the owner of a small company, and he says, his first response was, you know, that's interesting because my wife was just asking if you wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail too. I said, wow, okay. So he says, you know, probably yes, but let me think about it. He looks up the numbers and everything. He's a very smart guy. But he came back and he says, yes, you can go ahead and do it. Knock yourself out. So I did. And I did almost a full 6 weeks on the trail. Hell of an experience. And I come back, and what happens? I'm having a lot of questions from these localites. People are asking a lot of questions. Oh, what about this? What about that? And so it's a little bit of that. I really wanted to just put this out in the book. But it's also a lot about people who I see have a great amount of interest in wanting to hike outdoors. And a lot of what I realized as you hike, you have a lot of downtime with your own mental thoughts. You know, yes, and another thing I forgot to mention, because a lot of people are scared, even Dan Adams was asking, how much time do you spend alone?
Right.
I knew going on in 2020 that it's a very social trail. I would probably not be alone that long, you know what I'm saying? So it's exactly pretty much panned out. Very social trail, gonna meet a lot of friends, great time. And anyway, where was my thought? That yeah, and thinking of what I want to do in life in general, what do I enjoy doing? Because I have a great job, I have plenty of friends in Nashville. What else do I want to do? Well, I like helping people. That's just innate to me. And so I really also put a lot of heart into this book to help give a lot of people guidance and a tip and encouragement to break out of the mold and try your luck in hiking, not just start out of the gates cold. I know I give you tips, but in the end, the final chapter 14 is called tips. And I have a training program. Okay, how is it, you know, if you're not hiking at all, you can't do this in 3 months. It's going to take you a full year. Okay, but you have to discipline yourself and have a goal set, and which is also, you know, helps you out.
Right.
You have a goal in mind that helps you accomplish what you want to do.
Right.
And so that's the gist of it right there. Is that my heart is there. We're trying to help people. I want to get people to go out and see the benefits both physically and mentally in so many different ways. And if you read the book, you hear about, you know, a lot of the stuff that I internalized and go through it. And so maybe in essence you also will not feel alone in your own thoughts. You realize that you're not by yourself in these ordinary dealings and happenings and events. So yeah, in short, if I can, that's what it's about.
So when you started the hike, did it kind of meet your expectations? And did you like, yeah, this is what I thought it was going to be like? Or was it more about, I have no idea that this is what's coming?
No, meet my expectations because the first night, and in fact, even on the trail, I'm already running into people. And you can tell right away who are the through hikers, who are the day hikers, who are the people that don't even belong out there. You can see just by the way they're dressed, by the way they act, and how they look. And so it's what I expected. I did mention in the first chapter that as you're actually going through this, no matter how much you prepare your mind for this, you still physically have to do this.
Right.
You can't just, say, okay, I go through the guidebook and I'm like, okay, I've got 8 miles until I reach this point. Well, guess what? We now have at least 4 hours to grind it out up and down over these mountains, through rocks, through sand, through some beautiful, wilderness and such, and see some animals, and potential starving. Your body goes through all kinds of emotions and such, and it's a challenge. But you do get used to that every time.
When did you start?
I started typically all my hikes since 2016 have been either the last week of June or the first week of July. So the majority of the parts are through July, which is the hottest part. But it's comforting to know when you're hiking under the canopy, it's about 80 degrees with a breeze, and it feels pretty nice. There are sections when you're totally exposed under the sun, and you're, just can't wait to scooch out and get back into the woods. So it's actually an interesting thing to think about. Ooh, it's actually nicer than being out in the city under the pavement and the tar, asphalt roads. You can feel the heat coming up and just sap the energy out of you. The woods is a lot nicer.
What was one thing that happened that you didn't expect?
Well, it's easy. I guess chapter 3 probably, I call it hitting the wall. As I mentioned, I knew running into people, and you should have read that because you hit the nail on the head. So you skimmed through it, didn't you? So this whole time, all my experience of hiking and backpack, well, let's say backpacking and running, have been with people. Even if I don't know these people, the first couple nights, I was, in a shelter, and if you don't know what a shelter is, it's a lean-to that the trail committee builds, and you hike anywhere on average 8 to 10 miles, and you will come up to a shelter. And typically, you're going to find other people there. For the most part, 90% of people are going to be friendly and kind. 10% are just not going to want to talk and just hide away, which is fine. But I come across a lady and her daughter. She was a bit elderly lady, and she was actually from Tampa, where I'm originally from. And so we had a connection. Oh, Tampa, she went to the same middle school that I went to. Oh, great.
Oh, weird.
And so we had a great conversation. It's like, and she's doing a little park and a little small hike to the top of Bald spot in North Carolina. And so it's like, okay, great. Well, I'm going to see you later. I'm going to keep on hiking. She turns to me. She goes, well, don't you mind hiking alone? I'm like, oh, I'm not alone. I got people behind me. I got people ahead of me. I'm fine. She just kept staring at me. I was like, well, whatever. Just blow it off. I got a hike to do, right? So, because of the distancing that was taking place, I ended up at the shelter at 2 o'clock, and I didn't want to continue and risk getting, close to dark at the next shelter. So I set up camp at the shelter and stayed there. Nobody showed up. I stayed at this big old, accommodates like 2 dozen people easily. All by myself at the top of this mountain. And I'm like, that's fine. I'll set up these little props, my hiking poles, set up, to block in case the bear comes, it'll fall down and rattle, wake me up. For the previous couple years, I've been preparing firecrackers. So I would lay them out exposed with a lighter. In case I wake up, I would set one off. Loud noise, bears can run off, I'm safe. I have nothing to worry about. The birds do their typical thing, the crickets chirping, she's freaking out, like, what are you talking about?
You're already hitting on my next question, because that's my thing about hiking. I'm like, surely you ran into something alive other than you.
So you mentioned bears, so what kind of warnings are you given with regards to wildlife and protection?
Well, so you do become comfortable with that environment. You do realize that they are more afraid of you than you are of them.
Sure.
They are opportunistic though. So if they smell food, they will, from the crafty ones, will try to sneak it out.
Okay.
And so naturally, they may approach, shelters. The parks typically do a great job of determine that, at the more popular ones in Great Smoky Mountains, they have cameras set up. And so either by reports or by reviewing these videos, they see that there's a bear who's now coming occasionally at night. Like there's cables that they actually set up between two tall trees, and you can pull up your pack of food and other deodorant, perfume, whatever. And the bears still come out and they tap it to knock off the bags that aren't up there so well. So they're smart, they're very cunning.
Did you like firecracker?
Well, no. So then what happens is that they will now prevent any backpackers from staying at that shelter for about a month or so, until the bears realize there's no reward. Let's move on. Let's look for the next reward. So typically it seems to work. But so yeah, black bears. Okay, this is black bear country. Are more skittish of us than we are of them. So that's what I'm trying to say. So I wasn't too worried about it, but I did do my precautions, and I did realize that I'm going to stay alone. It's like, let me do my due diligence and set up some sort of bear trap barriers, just in case, because you got to see it, you got to see it. You don't know until the bear's like, oh, look. So yeah, lighter, firecracker, here we go. Anyway, so and then the natural, to me, I've become accustomed to it, the soothing sound of the birds chirping and the crickets as the twilight comes. And then by 9 o'clock, we call it Hiker's Midnight, or maybe 8 o'clock, depending on how tired you are. It's time to go to bed. So you do, nights here, and the bugs have now quieted down, very peaceful, you fall asleep. As soon as it got very peaceful, my mind turned on and started thinking about the older lady was telling me, ooh, are you hiking alone? It's like, well, I actually am alone. And it just started racing from there. I started thinking of every negative thing that I could think about. It just spiraled down this, road of, Neverland, and until finally after a few minutes of that, I had to literally out loud say, stop, that's enough, because it wasn't helping me, and I knew it was just my mind, but I couldn't control it. So I did that. I used to drink, by the way, so I would carry with me Tennessee Honey whiskey. So that was always my nightcap. Well, I had another nightcap or two. And about another half hour after that, I was able to fall asleep. Now, I did, though, feel so uncomfortable with that situation. I said, I'm going to bypass the next hiking spot, which was 8 miles away, and go another 10 miles after that, where my car was parked.
Good Lord.
And possibly get the hell out of here. What the heck am I doing out here alone? I did not like that feeling. Okay? In general, we are social beings. You know what I'm saying? You don't realize it as much as you do until you are literally alone in the middle of the woods with nothing nearby. So yeah, I hiked 10 miles or 18 miles that day.
Just so you wouldn't have to be by yourself.
Just so I wouldn't have to be by myself. But I did think rationally. I said, okay, well, for one, I'm going to be tired as heck.
Sure.
So let me just, sit there and have 2 nights and just rest and recover, and then make an educated guess or whatever you want to call it. Do I want to stay or do I want to? Because again, I had got approved for 6 weeks off, and this was just day 5 or day 6, I think. Day 6 would have been the hike, the next day. Sure. So the 4th night or whatever, 5th night. But yeah, so I had to do some soul digging and figure out this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah. What did you learn about yourself from this experience?
Wow, another great question. You should have been reading this. Just kidding.
I'm psychic. That's
So I did share some of these stories with my neighbor at the time, and he was like, beside himself with the stories and what I had done. And he was like, oh, this is finding your soul on the Appalachian Trail. Old timer. And hey, Ray, thank you, bud. Appreciate you joining us. And so yeah, so finding your soul. Well, I'm not 20 years old. I don't need to find my soul. I know who I am as a person.
Sure.
But because of what I just went through, I did realize how far I could push myself. Physically and mentally. And I overcame. Okay. So that, and internalizing that actually was a positive thing in my life. Hey, I did something that not a lot of people can do, and I overcame it. And I didn't cry about it and bail out. Yeah, I was tired as heck, and I moped around for a day. But I ate and drank a little bit. Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers.
Okay.
I'm Cuban American, so I related to that. And I kind of already was on the board with like, okay, I want to do something more with my life and join something that I feel good about. And that was it. And I found an opportunity to help others, which was students from K through 12, encouraging them not only to become future engineers, as myself, of this country, but also just to try to go to college or to get better grades and to be more studious and get better on this. So a lot of that reflective time is like, yes, and it's been since my college days, which is about almost 15 years now. So yeah, it's like, okay, well, how do I get back to that? You know, how do I commit to doing, you know, community service and helping people out? So yeah.
When did it occur to you to write a book about it? I mean, did you know that you were going to do that when you started the hike, or is that something?
No, not when I started doing the hike, but after I had hit the wall, and I realized that, okay, well, let me just do one more week to the next main stopping point, which, by the way, I just found out by happenstance that there's, well, I kind of knew before, but I can actually, you know, this whole regimen of, let me transport my car forward. There are transporters all up and down, and they will bring me back anywhere from $40 to $60, you know? And then I'll hike to my car again in about a week. Have all my supplies in there, and keep traveling on. And sorry, what was the question again? There's so many stories that get flooded with a bunch of different.
Now, well, like, so how did you decide from I'm just going to hike this to I'm going to write a book about it?
Yeah, so I completed another week, and I was like, you know what, I think I can do this. So I kept hiking on. And as I'm hiking, I'm coming across these people who have sharing with me these great stories. I'm going across wonderful experiences. I'm like, this would be great for me to put in a book. This would make a good book. You ever thought that? You know, sometimes some people like, was it Dan or was it you that said, no, it was Dan. He said he woke up and had a dream.
Yeah, that was Dan.
It was Dan.
Yeah.
So I said, this would make a good book. Now, when I came back, I still was borderline, but when I committed to writing a book, you know, and I think that's when I started doing the local hikes again, which I usually use just as more of my training ground. Plus, it's very social. It's like meetup.com.
Right.
There's a lot of groups that do the hikes and stuff like that, so you chat with a lot of people, and then there are the interests. There's the spark in there, like, you do the Appalachian Trail? Oh my gosh. And it's like, oh yeah, you can do that, you know? And it's like, well, how about if I put it in a book? Hopefully you guys like to read. Yes. And you're at a bookstore. The Spine Bookshop, 27 Market Street. Come on in. And so that's really what I thought, you know, would be the best way that I can try to encourage people to get outdoors, learn about it, and feel more confident about going out. About that, putting it in a book would be great.
I think that's awesome because I don't know much about the Appalachian Trail. I have a friend, Shane, that did it. Now he did the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so all of us were following on his blog, and he would write about stuff, and I would look at my husband sitting in my pajamas watching TV going, no. No. But then, you know, and so you're the second person I know that's actually done it. And I've gone hiking, but then I listen to the steer stuff, and I flip through books, and it's just, no. But I think that's so amazing that you had this idea to do this, and you met all these people, and you had that time to yourself to really just work through whatever's in your head, and you had like that thought spiral that you have. And how often did that happen to you? That alone time of I don't think I can do this, or I can't do this, or that mental struggle.
I think it was just up until Uncle Johnny's was a hostel in Irwin, Tennessee, where I hit the wall and rested for a couple of days. After that's the worst that I went through. You know, I did go through another spell later on with dehydration, and that was not fun. You mentioned things that you learned about. I learned, and I kind of knew already some of the signs, but I learned also that I'm stubborn with myself, and I don't want to, listen to these signs and make myself better. So hydrate, drink more water. Oh yeah, sure. And I didn't pay attention to the signs. My shirt, you have your synthetic, absorption.
Right.
Things. You don't realize really that you're sweating too much, as you said. And so the sun was hitting me at one point, and I was sweating out, all the due to lack of electrolytes in the water.
Okay.
So you need to replenish that supply. Your
And
muscles
salt does that?
cramp up. You start getting signs of your head gets hot. You start realizing that you're thirsty. So the key sign that I felt at one point was like, was when I couldn't finish my dinner. You hiked all this amount of time, dinner time, boy, you're just gonna consume, which is the best part of hiking, by the way. You can eat whatever you want. Jennifer Ford Davis, by the way, she at one point, somebody who met up with her, gave her like, those white powder donuts.
Yeah.
A whole big old bag, and the friend turned around and she came back, she had shoved them all in her mouth. She's out there, I'm guilty with white powder. You do, and you're just burning it all off, so it doesn't matter, which is great. If you like to eat, hey, don't do that. But so at those points, you need to replenish that supply. That your salts have just been evacuated out of your body through the sweat,
Okay.
and a lot of people don't recognize that, and you can actually die from dehydration or heat stroke.
Right.
The next level's up. Also, the color of your urine. If it starts turning, light brown, and if it's dark brown, you're in trouble. You need to get out of the sunlight, under the shade trees, stop hiking, cool off. A lot of the tricks is you get, like, what do you call it, like a neck gaiter or scarf, soak it in water, like cold water, put it on the back of your neck, soak it on your head, douse your head with water, just cool off, there's no hurry. And that's another whole point, right?
Right.
Just like life in general. It's not about, getting to the end, it's about the journey.
Sure.
Enjoy the journey, take it down, cool off, soak it down, enjoy the nature, you guys all around you.
Sure.
Yeah, but you have to be careful with your electrolytes.
So do you get those kind of training alerts before you hike? Did the park ranger sit there and like, okay, these are the things that you should be aware of? Or like, how do you start out on the trail?
The smart thing to do is to go to the park that you're going to be in, to go to their website.
Okay.
And they will give you a lot of warning tips from, severe heat index is really, really high. Prolonged heat has been taking place. So it's like a tinderbox out there. So, and if the wind is high and you're, thinking, oh, I'm going to start a fire tonight, it's going to blow and start a forest fire, and that's not good news. So read the local parks websites, and they will have emergency bulletins right in the front for you to click on and read more information. So yes.
So now, do they have places along the trail where you can get water if you start running out? Or, like, how does that work as you're going along the trail?
Ray gave me a good response to that. So
Sorry.
when I started 2021, and I did hike the next 2 years by myself too, it's been great. We didn't have any warnings. Virginia, little did I know, Virginia's not like the Carolinas, because the Carolinas is more mountainous.
Sure.
So you get a lot more running water. Even if it hasn't rained for a month, you still have the water sources. Well, Virginia, you talk to the locals, they're like, well, you don't know where to look. Well, the first time, I went by this guidebook that says, we go here, go there. And so we struggled to find water. And there was one point where I crossed the dirt road, you may remember, and there are trail angels. They know this. So these are volunteers who help out along the trail. And they will leave bottles of water. And these were big gallons of water. And so there was a sign, I think, that said, because the shelter was like, let's just say 8 miles away, and it said in 3 miles you will come across trailing angel magic or water source, or water from a trailing angel, however they worded it, just past Route 65. And so, and sometimes you forget where you're at, you just cross like a little, one-lane road, and you look out to the side, and the little open area, it's like, oh, that must be it. Well, most of it was gone. It's like, oh crap. So of course I got social media and I'm showing, hey, should I drink it? And Ray was like, yeah, I don't want to drink that water. You don't know what's in there. It might be a trap. It might be a trap. And it might be, but you know what? If I don't drink that water, and at the shelter there is no water, by the way, for your information, I'm probably going to die. Because my car is not there. I'm still in the middle of the woods. So you learn that there's volunteers all up and down. They want to help people. A lot of people are kind, generous, and this is volunteer work. And so and thankfully there was a good Yeah, which is actually what I averaged out in the beginning because we were no class, we didn't know any better. I didn't really read the full guide of, best way to, I knew that you wanted lighter packs, but you already spend so much money on these things.
For sure.
And get, 1/3 or 1/4 pound of everything of your, sleeping bag, sleeping tent, sleeping pad, on and on. But yeah, so no, the water was fine, and I did not die, and I had plenty of water. And let me tell you, I had the best night's sleep in the shop. I was by myself, but I had been there through that before. So I did not have a problem, and I continued on. I had a great day.
Yeah. Any animal encounters?
Yeah, I think everybody wants to hear that you come across a bear. Came across a bear. Well, our first year, I think day 1 or 2, we saw a cub. What they do is, and again, they're more skittish of you than you are of them. The bears, typically the cubbies, will climb up trees and hide at the top. But what this baby cub didn't realize is that our trail was here. This tree was from the valley. So level-wise, we were sort of, parallel there.
Oh, wow.
And so we didn't know because he was kind of hidden with some leaves. And so we hear a noise, the first thing you notice that big, we're trying to look. And he climbed up a dead tree, so the dead tree starts rocking. And so you see him like readjusting, and we're like, oh my God, there's a bear. There's a small bear. So it's like, well, where's my bear? Yeah, but now, so they know. But other than that, I have not seen a full bear on the trail. But I've seen the prints, I've smelled them, I know what they smell like, and I'm good not seeing one. But if I do, I've heard some wonderful experiences of people coming across. If you have a dog, typically your dog will be very protective and bark and stay away from my owner. I'm protecting my owner. Or like this wonderful story that I heard of this one lady. Her dog was scared and the hair stood up on his back like a cat. And big old male bear comes around the corner and he's ready to eat that dog because now that dog's a snack.
Sure.
Not a defending vicious dog. And so she cutely grabbed the dog and the bear snapped out of himself. So no horror stories of bears. Very rarely. And typically that leads towards the first, I'd say 2 months coming out of it. 2 months or so coming out of hibernation, they're more hungry. And so they will do more, adventurous things to try to get food.
So if you were telling someone who wanted to do this, when should they start this kind of?
That's another great question. So let me try to break this down. There's something called a bubble.
Okay.
That's the beginning of the hiking season. Depends on which one you do. If you want to do the whole trail, 13 states, 2,100 miles. It's a lot of miles. On average, takes you 6 months. And that's just not hike, camp. That's staying in cities, having days off, maybe coming back home for a cousin or whatever wedding, coming back. It's a long time. And so on average, maybe 5 months. Some people will do it in 3 months if they're like really great shape, still in the trains. So it depends on what you want to do. A lot of people want to attempt that, and so if you want to do that, you want to start in the spring. So you want to start around March or April in the beginning part of northern Georgia, which is Springer Mountain.
Okay, now is that where the trail starts?
Yes.
Okay.
And then as the season continues to warm up, you're hiking north. That in those 6 months, which is now approaching October, you are now near Maine. Katahdin is the end point. And now it's almost wintertime over there. And in fact, Katahdin, because they don't want people risking their lives with a dangerous winter storm that could come, they will shut the park down if you don't make it at some point in October. Sometimes it's the first. Last year, because I met some other crew hiker friends, and I followed them on social media, that they were like, no, it's going to end the 3rd week of October. So they were taking their time. Plus, by this point, their bodies were like hiking machines. But,
Sure.
2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, you're kind of in a hiking machine mode anyway. But so to them, they can, do it in the breeze. And so they can make up for the mileage and complete by whatever they need to. They
Right.
say we can be done by then.
Sure. So how long from start to finish will it have taken you once you finish?
So 2016 to, 10 years, I guess. But that's because my first 4 years was just doing probably an average of like, 6 days. It's not, I think the last time in 2019 with the group, it was just 4 days.
So what, you fly out there, how I said, you fly back, or drive back?
That's the challenge. Well, the good part of that challenge is that I live here in Nashville, so a lot of them were flying here to meet me here, and then we would drive there. So you drive 5 hours. Where you're not going to drive there in 5 hours and then just start hiking. You're going to probably find a place to stay the night. Then you're not going to start figuring out what you're going to do with transportation and how you're going to deal with the car situation. Which, by the way, the first couple times I think we would park the car where we started from, and then have prearranged transport meet us at the destination point after whatever period of time we thought we were going to hike.
Sure.
That was not a cool thing because by the time you get there, you have to wait. These guys are just going to be sitting there with the van doors open. Hey, you made it, guys, come on in. No, they're waiting for you to call them. They don't know if you're going to make it or if you're going to have an injury or you're going to bail out early. That's not how they do it. They're like, all right, we'll call us when we get there. So you got to wait, and you're tired. And then you have a long drive to go back. Then you get in your car. Then you're going to have another long drive. So leave your car at your destination and get transported back to your starting point. Does that make sense?
So you said that you stay in different cities. So are there cabins along the trails where you like hotels, or is it just like
It's
a
both.
lean-to?
It's both. Let me try to break the fear there. So we stay in hostels. And a lot of people are like, just in the word itself, hostel is not cool. It's
The
hostel.
movie did not help that.
It's not the European hostel. It's like you get in the movies, or I've heard some crazy stories. Europeans are a little different sometimes. Sorry, my European friends. Manja. But so these are like homes that people converted into like sleeping quarters, bunk beds. Of course, I'm a little bit older and I have money. I'm not starting, student anymore.
Sure.
So I'm going to ask if they have a cabin, a single room by myself. And if they don't, then so be it. Because you're just meeting people anyway. And you're not sleeping in the middle of the woods. You're sleeping in an enclosed environment on a bed, which is usually a little bit softer.
Right.
But it's the whole experience of what's at the hostel. They have just, each one's a little different. One of the coolest ones was Boots Off, Hampton, Tennessee. There's nothing in that hole in the wall, godforsaken place in Hampton, Tennessee. But they have a really cool hostel over there. If you like people, if you like hanging out, if you like sort of like an outdoorsy sort of a bar atmosphere, Boots Off was that. And it was super, super cool. Obviously better on the weekends, people were going to go there. But that's in my blog, and you see why I mentioned that. But they also have a lake nearby, and they offer a kayak experience as well.
Oh, fun.
So, you have a lot of fun with these different things.
So there's more than just a place to eat and sleep. There's like activities and stuff going on.
Yeah, they have ice that they rent out. You can, when I stayed at Uncle Johnny's, they also have, river floats, so if you're looking for the full adventure, go with the bubble. You got, there's the kids who just graduated high school, or just going through college, where you have these older guys or women who are either, separated from their job, from their significant other, or, they just retire. But you have a lot of people that are hiking with you, and so you have a lot of, different energies going on, and you find your clip, and you find what's called a tramline, which is a trail family. And that's an awesome thing. So, if you grow up, with a close-knit family, you know each other real well, because, this is going to be translated to the same thing out here. You have a lot of time on the trail, you're hiking, you get to really know these people, and that's part of finding your clique, people who you have the same energy with, and you connect with them, same background, or same adventure, the same low energy, you get a little bit for everything. And so when you get to these places, and then an hour or two later they show up with everybody there. It's like, hey, so-and-so, good to see you again. Blowtorch, how you doing, buddy? All that good stuff. I haven't seen you in a whole week. How you been? Literally, this one guy's showing from last year ago.
Was blowtorch?
Yeah.
Is there a
He
story
had,
behind
sure. He was hiking with a bubble, and it's more of like your hiking partners that know you with something silly that happens, and which is like me hiking on trail and right trail. Well, with blowtorch, horrible day. Anyway, so blowtorch had a propane tank, was cooking his food, and like a dummy, he didn't turn it off, and so he bumped the table and rolled like the spaghetti, percolating right on down the table.
Welcome to our air conditioning.
Only in the spine. Come on down. Coffee's coming shortly, guys. So somebody had a match or ignition out. So it lit, and this whole line of flame came shooting out all over the table.
Oh, God.
So they're like, "You're blowtorch, dude." So that is one of the cooler names. You come across a lot of cool names, and of course a lot of names like, okay, how did you get that? So that's a lot of fun. It's just a whole experience. And like I said, with the trampoline, now you've got people that you can trust, and that's another thing that you find that I came across this guy being gray. Easy enough because they're dressed completely in gray from head to toe. And I actually found this great. I found a gray bandana in the shelter. I'm like, I bet you that's Gray's, So I packed it with me, and he showed up at the shelter that I stopped at. Not shelter, sorry, at a hostel that I was at later. And I'm like, by the way, is this yours? He's like, oh my God, he was so excited to find us. Dude, thank you so much. Because it literally is the little things. You're carrying your home with you. You're carrying all these little things with you that are special to you. And that means a lot to me. So we actually had a couple of vagabonds that I mentioned earlier in the video that showed up, and I was like, hey, these are those guys. And he heard the whole story, went up and down the trail, everybody's chatting away, everything knew about these guys. And I'm like, great, you're probably gonna stay the night here. And he says, hey, you watch my stuff and I'll watch your stuff. I said, hey, you got it, So we had each other's back, so that's special, so I really appreciate that. If you're watching or anything, so much what I miss you out there, man. But that's part of the training, so you have a connection, and if you stay on the trail longer than a week or two, you're going to find your own training, and you're going to find a connection out in the woods. It's pretty special.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Anybody?
Ray, we had all kinds of questions before, but you were all concerned about, down out there, what's a trail angel? Yeah.
Sure. What's something like a habit or something you developed on the trail that you brought back to like city life?
Oh boy. I would say just to try to be happier with life in general. Try not to keep with negative thoughts. You kind of hinted towards that earlier, but I'm not thinking about it also because it's a lot closer to repeat. But yeah, when not only do you hit the wall, sometimes you're uncomfortable, because you're going to be a little uncomfortable out there. You forget about all these things, but when you're going through it, yeah. And what can easily happen out there? Or you run into somebody that you don't get along with, and well, me anyway, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I go down a little bit of a road with negative thoughts, and I start dwelling in negative thoughts, and I'm like, why am I just sitting here dwelling in negative thoughts? It's all in my head, Let me turn around and start thinking positively. And I would do that, obviously, and just stop thinking about it. Just stop thinking about negative thoughts. It doesn't help you at all. You're not going to resolve whatever happened back then, and it doesn't matter anymore.
Sure.
You're now moving forward. You're beyond that. That's behind you. Don't look in the mirror. Don't look in the rearview mirror, whatever. And yeah. So just there are times that I've had some incidents happen in my life, and they're life struggles, But that's life, and you have to just find a way to move forward and just keep thinking positive. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
So do you think that having, we all have mental health issues and things in our head. Do you think walking the Appalachian Trail helped you to work through some of that?
Yes.
Yes, see, I knew you, I was leading into it.
Thanks so much. So let me explain. Coming out with a book, self-publishing, it's not a great idea just to throw it out there on Amazon, because everybody's looking at Amazon like, with all these, millions of, who told me to, So I have various pages within this website. And one of them is gear. So what kind of gear do I have? You know, do you want, you know, just the basic stuff, or just ideas? And one of the main ones is tips on hiking.
Sure.
And a better one is actually the one this concept where it is benefits to hiking. So these are some general points that really a lot of people don't realize what's going on when you're hiking. So one of the points that I brought up here was from the Cleveland Clinic, and this doctor, Camper, says if you're sedentary, just the smallest amount will result in a lot of benefits. But as you adapt and become more fit, you're going to have to increase the stress on your body by either increasing the duration, the intensity, or the frequency. So what's happening as you're just going out with hiking? You reduce the risk of heart disease. I'm sure you can understand the cardiovascular benefits you're getting out of that, which simultaneously you're lowering your blood pressure. Tackles obesity because it's a workout. What happens when you work out? And it tackles obesity. That's simple stuff. Reduces anxiety or depression. Clear blue skies, flowers in bloom. Being in nature is such a great way to get a natural boost of happiness. And then quote, there's a lot of research that shows the effects of being in nature. Our bodies find that certain colors can be stressful while some are calming. So being out in nature with lots of green is a great therapeutic environment. So just imagine, just the colors alone, you know, it's therapeutic. Improves sleep. Like I said, once I got comfortable out in the woods, I'm sleeping like a rock out there.
Well, then you also have that exercise of your body working and being tired.
Yeah, so your body needs the rest,
Sure.
you know. And also, by the way, another thing that I learned by out there hiking in the woods all the time, because it's so physically demanding that if you don't sleep well, then your body's not getting that time to recover. When I do have those good nights of sleep, boy, I wake up refreshed and healed. I've got a bad knee that swells all the time, and it's like fully healed that next morning if I have a good night's sleep. So
It's so weird.
that's
your body does
incredible.
that.
And it's incredible that it's like proof that, wow, that really helps. So obviously it helps build strong bones and muscles, improves arthritis. You know, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, you know, well, you're lubricating your joints. You're getting your muscle development around those joints, your hips and everything else. When you're walking, it's only 3 times your body weight. Oh, this is for backpacking. So even if you're going at a slower pace, you're able to get your heart rate up at higher while you're still walking, so you don't have that high impact. So it's low impact. It's not like you're running. It's just, you know, you're walking. And it helps with balance. A lot of people don't realize you're walking on hills, dirt, rocks, sometimes mud, roots from trees that create uneven terrain. You're developing strength, which plays a big role in balance. To maintain your balance, you have to be able to sense the change and center your gravity, you know, and adjust to it.
And you have to
And
kind of
it's
talk
trying to
about
make
that.
it. Yeah.
That adjusting the gravity.
Yeah, so it's not just walking, which is why I say don't just walk on flat pavement. Go out and find a trail, and not just a mulched trail, you know, your favorite park that's, you know,
Yeah.
well maintained. You need to find these routes and whatever, and this is the reason why it helps with your balance. So another thing that I came across, and this concept that I developed, by the way, was something from my experience hiking the Everglades.
Okay.
It was such a great disconnect that it was like 5 out of 6 years straight I went through with the University of South Florida's outdoor recreation. It's in the Everglades of South Florida. And that's why you see this trail sign that's in the back, slow down to the pace of nature. And then I added, and have a good hike.
What does that mean?
So what does that mean, slow down to pace of nature? The best way to describe it is from my experience here with, like I mentioned, kayaking. So I'm a city guy. I'm used to city guy things. What do we have in big cities? We have lakes. Well, what's the coolest thing to do is have a kayak, right? So I got dragged into going to kayaking, you know, on these isolated islands in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, that's the farthest thing from what sounds like a good time. I mean, I like nature, but that's extreme. Well, through his nagging-ness, I accepted. So I went, and day one, it's like a group of, like, I think it was two dozen people almost.
Sure.
Everybody's got their own individual kayaks, and I didn't really know how to kayak that well, you know, just I've been in a kayak, but, you know, nothing extreme. And imagine just, running on down a straight line, and I'm zigzagging, expending twice as much energy. We start passing these islands. This is day one.
Sure.
And I'm looking at these islands, and there's just a bunch of pelicans hanging out in these trees, pooping all over the leaves. I go to the lead, I'm like, so is this about all we're going to see out here? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what the hell am I doing out here? I could be in a jet ski zooming around, zigzagging through everybody, and
Right.
making these turns like I love to do, and splashing the poop off the leaves, from the pelicans, It'd be a lot of fun, And I'm like, damn, but I'm stuck out here for the next 6 days, So for the next 3 days, I'm learning how to not snake in the kayak. I'm learning how to sleep at night in the woods, because that was my first time. I literally, for the first 3 days, was watching the stars across the whole entire night. Plus this guy that they had me camping with in the tent, he's snoring up a storm. He's been a camper since, he was in Cub Scouts or whatever, he loved it. The Boy Scouts. And so I struggled. My back was killing me because you're in a comfortable, park. Anyway, after 3 days, not only did I learn how to kayak, but I started noticing there's marine life. There's dolphins over there doing these special little things, like flapping at the wind, the water near the shoreline.
Sure.
Because they're fishing. They're cornering fish.
Oh, okay.
And literally, it's on the Discovery Channel now. It came probably 10 years later, I haven't seen that. Anyway, I started seeing the pink duck-billed platypus,
Yeah.
they call it, and stuff like that. Just various different, beautiful birds. Saw some small sharks, And I realized that I actually was enjoying this disconnection from my everyday routine that I was used to. And it was like this moment of I have now slowed down my energy to the pace of nature. And that's exactly what's happening. You don't realize that by just doing, you get a small sense of that by going to a local park and hiking out there. You'll hear, like what I just mentioned, you'll hear the birds singing, you'll see the animals running around, you'll hear the waterfalls, you hear the white noise, and so that's the calming effect. We're just starting to hit the tip of the iceberg of the nature of the energy. And so there's this thing here that I looked up to make sure that I wasn't plagiarizing nothing out. So actually, this is what somebody came up with. That's healing with nature in mind. And she wrote this in 2009. It's from the book Ecotherapy. It says, reconnect with place. We learn to resist the constant rushing around and settle into and attend a beloved location, taking time to learn its secret and hear its whisperings. Reconnect with a companion and wild animals. Animals slow us down to our natural animal rhythms, which is why animal-assisted therapy works so well at lowering blood pressure and healing psychological ills of many kinds. The simple act of petting a cat or watching birds flit through the trees is profoundly healing. Reconnect with plants. A simple pot windowsill slows us down to the pace of the seed, a seedling, a leaf, a flower, a tree on the street. If contemplated and touched, offers up its blessing during a busy day. Okay? It's a little deeper. Reconnect with the cycles of human life. Instead of remaining in perpetual teenager mode, with the first stage in our society, it seems, allowing ourselves to become true initiated adults and then elders honors the natural pace of human life rather than fighting it. Nature teaches us that seeds emerge, plants flourish, blooms root, and then wither and slip away. Valuable wisdom for our own lives when we encounter the inevitable transition in our own and others' lives. And a couple more. Reconnect with our wild bodies. Untamed nature is to be found not only in our faraway wilderness, but in the wild of our bloodstreams, our digestive process, our breath. Any practice that brings our attention back to our bodies is wilderness ecotherapy. Yoga and ecstatic dance offers release from the controlling modern ego and access that eco-psychologists outdoors most of the time, our bodies and souls cry for long walks on the beach, contemplation in a forest, or a few minutes in a nearby vacant lot near a stream. These times slow down life to a healing, natural pace. So I couldn't have said it better, but hopefully that equates to what I was mentioning about slowing down the pace of nature.
So were you an outdoor person when you were a kid, or is this newfound love of outdoors more like adult?
It is newfound an appreciation for the outdoors. I think because again I grew up in the big city of Tampa, that as a teenager I knew about these Boy Scout camps or what have you. And I was like always like, oh, we were born before, we were sharing it, everything has to be left behind in that communist country. So we literally did not have a paint or anything when we came here. So I can afford those things.
You know, where are you from originally?
I was born in Tampa, but my family came from Cuba, and I was born a year later.
Okay.
Older sisters as well. They were 2 and 3 years old when they came.
Okay.
So yeah, we went through all that.
I hear that.
Yeah. So I do consider myself a good parent.
I love that.
Yeah, it brings with it a little bit more of a cultural experience, and I've been very blessed to have the opportunity to go back to Cuba with some family.
When we were in North Carolina, we got to have some authentic Cuban food, and I'm now completely obsessed with finding a Cuban restaurant here.
Yeah.
Because it was some of the best food I've ever had.
Well, maybe for another future event, I will cook you a paella over here.
Yes!
And
It's my favorite.
I think if people know what paellas are, you will want to.
Paella is the best thing that's ever been
The Spine Bookshop, $27.
ever. Paella is the best food I've ever had in my entire life.
So I had the recipe from my dad just by watching him. And but then I hung out in college days with a buddy from Colombia. And so it's a twist of the Colombian
Sure.
ingredients in there, which just makes it better. And it's almost like something from Louisiana.
Yes.
New Orleans, Louisiana. And it is delicious, like a gumbo almost.
Right. Well, the first time I ever had it was in Atlanta.
Okay.
And I had it like 3 days in a row. Because I was like, no, we're going to go back to that restaurant.
So yeah, is that right?
No. And I wish I could find it here because it's just, I think you even got those little packs of food that you can make it yourself. It's not the same.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same. The only thing I would do is the Vigo rice. Because it's just,
That's
it's
it.
fire for their
I
season.
just, it's not the
But
same.
it's still not the same, I agree. I went to Spain a few years back, and we went up and down the road looking for a good place in Madrid, Spain, to see what their best place to go to. Of course, they're all going to, we're the best. So, if my cousin just moved there,
Right.
I don't know either, and yeah, it's not.
I went to Europe when I was 18 and it was all touristy and stuff, but I think that if I went now, I would just eat my way across the country. Like, where's the good places to try food? I just want to eat my way across the continent.
If you enjoy, Spanish food in general,
Yes.
Colombian is a great option to travel across the whole country
Sure.
and just eat your way through it. Yeah, my friends from Colombia, they invited me to but I just never went.
Okay, so when you get done hiking the Appalachian Trail, what's going to be your next thing that you want to accomplish, hiking-wise? Or is there one?
Well, for right now, what I did last year was I knew that I had just trained my body for this everyday grueling hikes that I was used to. So what was the next best transition was to do the Spartan race. I did just do the 5 mile race through the farmlands of Lebanon. So it's these up and down farmlands, which is pretty hard to do. And plus I don't have a good knee, so I figured that'd be small enough that I could try to do. But the Spartan race has 20 obstacles that you go through. So it's not just running. You have monkey bars that you go through. You have like these 50-foot
So you
rope
have some
climbs up and
agility
down.
here.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. There's even a spear throwing event, a Spartan spear. You can throw that and hit a target, stick it in the target.
This just feels like the exact opposite of what I need. Like you're walking down the hall.
Well, I can tell you that because of what my body went through, I did heal up for 4 days, mostly because I did an extreme hike to get out of the Appalachian
Sure.
final trip, and 2 months, 2 months and a week or so. And it was incredible that I could feel my body adapt and get used to what I was doing because of the training. And that's just another thing. You really hit the level of endorphins that you're just on a natural high. I mean, when's the last time that you jumped in bed and jumped out of bed? Literally jumped because I was that full of energy, you know? I don't know if that makes sense. Is that equation?
Sure, yeah.
Usually my body no, I just had full on energy. And so it was
I'm not a morning person.
neither am I. But I had the energy to I hit a level of like, this is where
That's
I was supposed to get because I was doing something every day.
Yeah.
Mike just experienced that with his 72-day challenge, and I got some stuff to learn from him still. But it's a level that you just can't believe. So I'm proud to say that not only did I do the 5-mile run, but that I completed every obstacle without having to bail out. Because supposedly if you bail out, you have to do like 20 burpees, which is where you squat to the ground, kick your legs out, do a push-up,
That
kick
is
your
my
legs back
least
up, and
favorite
then jump.
exercise
You do
ever.
2 of those, and you're already hyperventilating.
Yes.
But again, I trained for that. So, but I accomplished a lot. Even with a bad shoulder, you know, I just had shoulder therapy, surgery in February. I did this with a bad shoulder, and I still was able to accomplish all that.
Have you ever done the one where it's the swimming, the biking, and the running? What is that?
Yeah.
The triathlon.
It's a triathlon.
Have you ever done that?
10 years ago when I first came to Nashville, I did a sprint triathlon, so it's the shorter version. So it was like, and instead of swimming, they had a kayak, which by that point now I'm a professional kayaker, right? So let me tell you, I'm pretty sure I got first place in that, even though it was a time. But it was 7 miles, and I did it in like 45 minutes. Anyway, so after 7-mile kayaking, it was a 5K run, and then like an 11-mile bike ride. And that was okay until I ran across 2 steep hills, which was like, because I wasn't biking, you know. I literally just did like 2 days of training and biking before that. But yeah, so that was a total, overall, 3 hours of constant exercise. The Spartan race, because I did the 5K, was about an hour, I think it was. Was it about an hour we did it? And so now 3 times as long. Unless you're doing 3 hours of hiking all the time, or not 3 hours of hiking, but 3 hours of constant like hiking.
Sure.
You're not going to be used to it, so my whole body was cramping up. Yeah, you remember that, right?
So how do you deal when your body starts cramping up like that?
Salt bottles. It's the electrolytes.
So, okay, salt what?
Bottles.
Vials.
Yeah.
Just little vials
Like
of
a little
like,
tiny little container, you can open it up, you can do like that, or you can
like
take
a
a
shot
pinch,
of salt.
put it under, you have to put it under your tongue, and then you have to let it dissolve and squish that around with your saliva until you feel the little crystals dissolve, and then you swallow that down. And I swear to God, I've done it now 2 or 3 times while hiking the Appalachian Trail, and because I needed it, like literally my body cramped up, and it's like, okay, I've got to stop and sit and take some water. And 5 minutes of rest? No. Now your legs are in a stiff position. You can't get up and move. It's time for salt bottles. And that's the emergency. You've got little pockets in your backpack. So you just open it up and take a little swig there. And not even 2 minutes, you're like, okay, I'm energized. I'm good to go. I got up
That is
and
crazy.
I hiked I only had like a mile left to get to the shelter. And I got to the shelter, and boy, I was more mellow. Because you have so much energy. You're just like, and you just, you know, yeah. And I'm a good listener, so I would listen. Boy, I had something to say every time. Thankfully, that wears off after about an hour, but not in a bad way. Not like,
Sure.
down.
Not like a sugar crash.
No, yeah, not at all. You know, so that's to me the best thing, and a heck of a lot better tasting than the mushroom. very blessed to have a job that I'm able to take 6 weeks off, 5 weeks off. I think it was 4 weeks last year, and project's a little iffy right now this year how it's going to work out. And it's between my projects. It's not like I'm leaving anybody hanging. Because anyway, so I've been able to do, like I said, 350 miles the next 2 years.
So where are you right now? In the
I am 40 miles shy of reaching New Jersey. I have almost completed Pennsylvania.
So you first started in Georgia and now you're up to New Jersey.
Yeah.
And then you're from New Jersey to Maine.
Yeah, it actually hooks to Vermont.
Okay.
So New Jersey, New York, and I think it's Vermont, maybe Massachusetts a little bit, and then Maine. It's
You're gonna
13
write
states and
another
all.
book
So,
when you finish it?
sorry?
Are you going to write another book when you finish it?
Well, some people have been encouraging me because there's lots of experiences, and also I think what I enjoy about my book is that it's just as part of the lasher. It's good detailed work, not the whole thing like some thru-hikers would do, but it's from Hot Springs, North Carolina, to when I stayed in Woods Hole, which is in Harrisburg, Virginia.
Okay.
So I give a great description. It's not all hostels or hotels or cities along the way, but it's the ones that I stayed in.
Sure.
And they're pretty popular. And so yeah, I've experienced a lot more, from them and more experiences, I think. And a little bit is my, my humor in it, and I hope I'm entertaining.
No, you're
I can be boring at times, but we'll see.
It's been strong.
It depends on these things. I get positive reviews, the verdict is still out there. We have to wait and see. I did have a great editor for the book, Lauren Muller from Texas Christian University.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty good to have her insights for my book. For one,
Has
because
she ever done that?
she has never hiked in her life. So I did break down the book. Some of you hikers, so you may be like, yes, we know what that is, but so for a lot of basic people you don't know. You may have an inkling of interest in it. So this book will break it all down for you, and I don't just drag on the descriptions of it. I just give a brief little background to help everybody along. But also because of her background, Christian University, I thought it'd be great for her prerogative coming from this book, which is from a male's perspective. I do come across women on the trail, so some of them are beautiful and what have you, and I'm describing them. Because I want you guys to know what I see, and I don't want to be describing in a vulgar sense. I don't think I'm, misogynistic and all that, but I want to make sure I'm reading it, how it's read. It's not going, hi, Amy. So if someone like Amy or you guys want to read it, you might be like, oh, it's a jerk. And so she really was like, no, don't say cute, say pretty. So you will see me say pretty a lot in it. And, just kind of like, I think, a little bit of Lloyd, a little bit of Dan, it's our book, so I want to have another way I wanted to read. So it was a little bit of we didn't have that back and forth, but she's very detail oriented, which is another reason why I was happy that I chose her. So she really, went through it in great detail. She made a lot of suggestions and offers. There was one point where I mentioned, my sleeping pad popped a hole.
Oh no.
So I'm now laying on a wood platform. This is the shelter I mentioned, the lean-to.
Yeah.
And so I was there with this uncle and niece situation. The niece was, maybe about 30 years old. And I had just done a 20-mile hike that day. And got there about 5:30, and she thought it was just going to be them two. Usually by that time, everybody's going to show up to the shelter. So she was surprised I was there. And I could tell by the way she was working. She was very impressed with what I just did. And, so, manly. Sorry, ladies, but yes, the guys can read that. You can see it in your eyes, you can hear it in your voice, you can hear the things that you say.
Sure.
Shall I continue?
Go right ahead.
Spoiler alert, flash it's not, because this is the part that Lauren made me take out. So,
Nope.
yards, and she's got her back on the back end of the other wall, so she's facing me, so she can see me. So I'm like laying, trying to do my leg elevation. I'm like, great, now I can feel my spine touching this wood. It's uncomfortable, so I'm like, okay, I've got to roll over. So I roll over, and I see her, and I get the smile. So I'm just like, oh hey, So the way I described this look was from, and this is a little bit older reference, but from Burt Reynolds on the Playgirl cover magazine.
Yes!
I took that out from the book because
That's hilarious.
I thought it was very
So many
funny.
people don't know that.
Yeah. I got a second edition that he's all sell that I may do, and I would love to hear your responses. Yes. I really enjoyed that training. I thought it was very funny. I didn't think of that at the time, but in writing it, I thought this would be pretty funny. So I totally was. And because Young was like looking like, what are you looking at? Angela, what? Why are you looking at him like that? He knew. Tell me, we can do this thing. So Laura did a great job, keeping it toned down.
Tone down. That's
Maybe it
very-
would be better with some of these things, but I think you will still enjoy the book, and I hope you guys get a big laugh with it. So I appreciate your support for everybody coming down here. If there's no other questions, just remember 27 Lawrence Street, Smyrna, Tennessee. Come down, check out wonderful Lindsay. You come down and visit her. Make sure you love her. Beautiful daughters are really reading like crazy. Read probably half the books that are over here already.
Yeah.
And your mother's a joy to talk to. She loves to talk about her experiences of being on her eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah, so.
Was there any other questions, Tony? Did you have a question?
I was worried about 2 weeks ago your transportation. When
Yes.
you move from different places,
Yes.
because I'm telling you, I got a friend that is a hiker, and she makes a van affordable for travel.
Yes. All along the way, there are transporters. That's like either their side gig or that's called because they're retired, and they're just doing that under the table for cash money. Or there's some that have like a business and they have like 4 or 5 drivers for them. So wherever you go, you just have to, and this is what helps me. If you can't tell, I like to talk.
No.
I do like to talk. Sometimes, especially if I drink a salt bottle. But in general, and know that sometimes I'll be shy and I won't talk when I probably would have helped you. But in general, and this is enlightenment as well, you need to speak up when you have to and ask, hey, is there a transporter here? And they will help you. Like, oh, you want to go with this guy. He's cheaper. Or it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're a jerk. Hey, yeah, go with these guys. They charge like $20 more. Go with them. So it helps to be nice as well. But all along the way, there are transporters. And Tony, the experience that I went through was by accident. What we did before was we would just park, how do I say it? Where we stopped, where we started from our beginning point. We would park and then do the hike and then call for a transporter to bring us back. Sure, that's fine, but what if now, like me, I've hiked, which by the way, I forgot to mention, our typical drive time on these transportations back at the beginning, the first 4 years, you've now been in the woods for 4 or 5 days. I think the first year we had 8 days. So it took like 45 minutes, maybe an hour to get back. These are winding roads, but still an hour to get back. You're like, dang, this seems to be, an hour's kind of long,
Sure.
But like the one time we did 4 days, and like in 20 minutes we're about like, jeez, we didn't hike anything. It feels like forever out there. Now that I'm doing the 300 plus miles, it's 4 hours to get back. So you're just mind blown. You're driving back 4 or 5 hours. You're like, wow, this isn't good. I actually went a far distance.
Yeah.
So by accident, Tony, when I started the first last year trip in 2020, the year of 2020, I had boxed all of my food because there's a couple of options to do your food. You could do food drops. So either by mailing them to predestined locations north of you where you think you might end up, or just drive by and drop them off. And that's what I was going to do. I studied that guidebook, how far I think I'm going to hike. If it's this far, it's 18 miles. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this 18 miles. I don't know. I estimated, well, after a week, maybe I will. Oh, maybe I won't. You're going berserk trying to think about how far you're going to hike and where you're going to drop your food off. So by the time,
what would be your advice?
the time my brain was wrapped, I mean, yes, I separated out like 12 boxes of my food rations for 5 days, for 4 days, for 6 days. Oh, it's mind-boggling. And I was like, let's just drive and get out of here. I've got 5-6 hours to drive. So I drove there, and it's like I'm driving, 5 hours is kind of long for me, right?
Right.
I think driving 2 hours is kind of long. So 5 hours. And now you're in the woods, in the mountains, you're just driving around. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to not drive all the way to Virginia. I'm just going to drive to Erwin, Tennessee, which would be 7 days of hiking from where we ended last year, which was Hot Springs, North Carolina, the start of the book. And I said, forget it. I asked, can I park here? Oh, yeah. It's a small fee, but $5. Yeah, you can park here. The whole time, 7 days, like that. Just one time, $5 fee. So, okay. So I hiked. It ended up being 5 days because I got scared of sleeping alone in the woods. I didn't like it. I said, I'm going to get to my car and get the hell out of here. I got to my car and I said, well, now I got all my food. Let me wait. Let me calm down. Let me think about it. And I went to a local grocery store and they actually had really great meats over there. So I ate meats, baked potato, eggs and bacon and vegetables, fruits. Desserts, I ate like a king for 2 straight days. I could feel my body get the energy back, And then they're like, well, I kind of knew it because they were the first ones that offered me the transporter to take me back to Hot Springs. Now they offer transportation. I can drive another 4, 5, 6 days of hiking, whatever it would take me, leave my car with all the food, and just take 5, 6, an extra day of hiking food with me, just in case I have an injury and I need an extra day to slow down. So now I'm back to Erwin, Tennessee. I stay another night, but I just hike out in the morning. I hike 4 or 5 days, go back to my car. I go through it all again. Each place will have a transporter, and I just kept forwarding my vehicle to the next spot. And it's worked great. I'm very lucky. Now, though, I'm passing Pennsylvania and getting into New Jersey. And now it's like a 12-hour drive to get all the way out there. It's incredible. So, am I going to keep doing that? I don't know, but it's pretty darn convenient to have the vehicle.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I may just continue doing that. Thanks for asking. Does that make sense? Any questions about
I know you use the same vehicle that I know that you use.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, some people convert the vehicle in a small studio moving now. So they put everything, a kitchen. What do you think about that?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Are you thinking in the future?
No, not at all. What you missed earlier was the part about the trail community. You will be isolated. So past couple years, I actually applied with my original friend back in, she's called Voters.
Okay.
She was in Canada, and so she wasn't allowed to be in Canada during the pandemic year.
Right.
The border issue. And so she doesn't like hostels. She's a little, I won't say bougie, but sorry about this. A little bougie. She likes comforts. We are older folks. We're not, 20-year-old.
I like comforts.
We like our comforts. That's true. Honestly, I like it too. But you're missing out on that experience. It's better than sitting on a hard mat. So I would say it's a plus. But it's the experience, the nuances of the people that you're meeting, the town, the authenticity of the adventure. If you're in a hotel, you're just in a hotel. It is bougie. So no, I don't prefer that. I don't prefer that. And then you've got the complexities of the vehicle, maintaining it, storing it. Just go to the local places. I would go eat with local people. And also, what you just is the trail family. You find people that you get along with. You don't get along with everybody, just like in your own lives. You don't get along with everybody. You find your niche. Same thing with out on the trail. You find people that you get along with, and you enjoy hanging out with them. They're now your family out on the trail or training. So you want to hang out with them. You want to go to hostels. You want to drink your coffee. So I say no to that and just enjoy the experience. Transportation. Some people can mail and ship boxes. So you just need to find some, you can fly out there. And when you're done hiking, you have to, that's another thing, okay? So you have to have By the way, Denise enjoyed that view. It was raining outside. I'm sorry, but and then that's
That is
in the book.
hilarious.
So,
I think everybody gets real familiar real quick out there.
you have to keep this bathroom. You should not be on trail bells. If she's watching my video, she knows it's not what it's and by the way, my book does have a lot of information for females who want to go hiking. So, this is not just only male-oriented, tips and tutorial.
Sure.
Yes. Obviously, you can review it and be able to judge that. Maybe not so much during the chapters, but in the tips portion, yes, I have a lot of information for females on hikes. And also, I get perspectives from the females on the trail. What they go through. I go through this girl named Sorrel. Beautiful name. Do you know what Sorrel is? Thank you for that. Because I sure didn't. I felt like an idiot. I'm like,
No.
Sorrel? Oh, cool. Sorrel is what she's mentioning. Like the flower. Oh. Whatever. I don't know what they're talking about, but yeah. She ended up being super cool. But so just to give you guys, because it's hopefully you guys are still watching on the podcast or whatever, that she came out and not alone to hike on her own. V, you probably have done that many times, right? So quite a bit. So, but there are these people who are like 19 years old,
Sure.
protected their whole lives and are scared of what
Well, I
they're
bet
doing.
that's a shock.
But they are like, I need to do this for myself. They know they need to do this,
Right.
and they do this. Well, what happens is they gravitate towards the trampoline. So Sorrel gravitated to the trampoline that I kind of joined along the
Okay.
way with bells.
Sure.
And they protected her. She felt more safe. Well, guess what happened? They're only hiking 2-3 weeks. Or a lot of them hiked just to Damascus, Virginia, and they're like, we're done for the year.
Right.
Sorrel, we're sorry, but you are now on your own. Did that stop her? No. She had now grown the courage to continue hiking alone. You will, within a few weeks, feel comfortable without in the woods. The bear will not scare you, You may see the bear, but you learn what to do and what not to do. You hear so many stories that become second nature. But also just the confidence as a female, okay, to be out in the woods alone. I'm totally thinking of this hilarious Dave Chappelle story about that I'm trying to go in there. But anyway, so she felt, her courage, her independence, her maturation while she was out there. She transitioned. Ray, you're not crying, are you? No. But she totally did.
Emotions are okay.
But, and I love it, because it's a transition.
Sure.
For some reason I always do. I love to see that transition. And so I do write that in that book. And so she did. And I follow her on social media. And she completed it. She writes this whole thing about it, about how she kind of, and you can see her. She met other people. She had relationships. She had all that. She learned everything about her independence and about her ability to say, yes or no. I'm in control of myself, and whether I like it or not is up to me.
I love that.
Yeah, it totally was. And I find it every week on the trail.
That's really cool.
Last year, the 19-year-old, she gravitated with this group of guys, and they were about her age. And so one guy's like, hey, we were with this girl, she was really cute, and this was his older brother, he was like 30, they were like twins. So she was 19. He came down, and they hit it off, and they were a couple. Oh, and by the way, so you see me coming through that a lot on my own in 2020 in my transition, because I am a single guy, never married, no kids, just throw it out there. And so last year as I'm hiking, now I'm hiking with the Drew hikers, by the way. So these are the people, because I've gone so far north with my second hiking, and now these are the people that have started in March and have tracked their way that in early July or so, while I'm hiking further north, now that's where they are.
Sure.
So it's an interesting perspective, and that's why I think it would make a great second book.
I think so too.
So I came across her name, her trail name is Cabbage. I can just throw it out there. What are you talking about? So Cabbage, okay, met her several times, including voters. We all hit it off. And she's like, oh yeah, well, the 2020 era. I know, coming from her words, like 4 couples who met out there and are now in serious relationships and getting married. So you do go through that as a relationship. You go through the hardships. You go through the pain. You go through the, you are stripped of every layer of who you are. You can no longer put on that facade. You're just in your bare bones of who you are. And so either this person you're going to get along with or you're not. You're going to find out.
Right.
After hiking with several weeks. And I learned that from when I first started hiking over here. It's a great story. I'll tell you. So as was told me, there was, so again, she told me that she was with her family, but that she came across a couple who joined in their family. And the guy was this big old Marine dude, just full of muscles, probably 6'5". And then here's this little pipsqueak little woman, I think it was the wife. And so she goes, during the day it was fine, because they can, you branch out. You're not just all, together. But you have a destination, you all can hike 15, 20 miles a day,
Sure.
right? And so pretty much your destination is the same for the next whatever. And she said the problem is that when they got to their place of the shelter or the hostel, wherever they're at, that this little pipsqueak was nagging this big, huge Marine guy the whole night. That they struggled to sleep because all they heard was her nag, 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 nag. She said every morning you would see this big old Marine buff guy down, his head was down, he was just like down in the dumps. And it just was so hard for the rest of them that after like a week they're like, hey, let's get up extra early and get the hell out of here and separate ourselves from this couple. So they all tiptoed past the shelter. So that's an example of, is this relationship going to work or not?
Yeah.
I don't say, hey, husband, do you think, or wife, let's go out and do this, because now you have a preconceived, hey, we are testing ourselves. And that's a little different nuance. I think it just has to be organic, and let's just try and see what happens.
Sure.
But as far as what the book is in reference to, and the stories that the pandemic era, a lot of couples, and I kind of sort of feel like I'm waiting for that to happen as well, find someone that I'm on my level.
Yeah.
And can relate, and we would know if we could get along or not by going to that. Absolutely.
The ultimate dating test.
It is. We should make a game show of that. I posted something similar on the website where it's supposed to be people who make like Netflix or something. People who producers. You can go on this page and try to see somebody picks up on that. I thought it would make a good reality. Hey, there's a concept for you.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us, and I did page through the book. I don't have a chance to read everything. I don't have the amount of time to read it.
Yes.
Currently working
Well, you've got 6 books.
I know right now. But thank you so much for sharing this with us, and I'm really excited about the second book because I'm gonna.
So you encourage me.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
27 Water Street.
Well, so, at this point, I'm gonna let you guys talk to our author, and then we can, if you guys want to purchase, we can definitely do that.
Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Is that still even running?
That one halfway through.
Yeah.
That's fine. At least something I can